All right, Wayne, you in North Wales. Just how's it gone, and what was the thinking behind going up there?
Yeah, well, the thinking was, excuse me, after the autumns, which was about 9 weeks together, and then we had a similar period of time for the Six Nations. So all up, I think we're about 4.5 months in the hotel out of 6. So we just wanted to change it up a little bit. The weather's been fantastic here, so we've had 4 really good days. We've got another training session this afternoon with another half day tomorrow, so before we head back. So it's been really, really good just to change it up. And it served the purpose really, really well.
Some of the new guys involved, have you been impressed? How have they slotted in?
Yeah, it's great because this week there's been a lot of learning for everybody. Not only new players coming in, but got new management as well. So there's been a bedding in period for everybody. And I think it's worked superbly well today. I think the players have been challenged with, for a lot of them, it's a big step up in terms of the intensity of trainings and the not so much the amount of time on the pitch, but I think they work a lot harder in the time that they are on the pitch. Physically, it's demanding. And then, of course, we've got the learnings, all the new plays in our playbook, if you like. So for the new boys, there's been a lot to take in, and we're seeing them work very, very hard, not only on the training field, but the homework they're doing in and around the sort of team area till quite late at night for some of them. So they're putting the hours in, which is good.
You've obviously got some of the new guys. First time we've spoken to you, Wayne, one of your senior players, Corey Hill, is not there. Could you just outline how that process worked and how it came to him sort of dropping out the squad and Matthew Screech coming in, please?
Yeah, well, I was aware Corey was having a look around in Japan, and he came into my office in the morning and said that he'd spoken to Di in the afternoon, the evening before, just to face with his coach, and he did the same with me and just said that it was an offer that, for him and his partner, was one they couldn't refuse, was going to set them up. And so I think, he's looked at his age and where he's at in his career and made a decision based on what's best for his immediate people around him. So I respect the fact that he came in and told me, at which point we wished each other well, and we made the replacement straight away because obviously time was ticking, and his new contract kicking off on the 1st of July meant that he wasn't going to be taking part in any of our matches.
I suppose that's different to the situation where you kept Jake Ball on for Six Nations tournament, knowing what he was going to do.
Yeah, well, we probably had 6 months' notice there. We were in a Six Nations, and it was about the tournament rugby and picking what we believed to be the best players at the time. This is an opportunity with Lions players away, and the nature of, I guess, the timing and where we're at in our World Cup cycle, that it's an opportunity to have a look at another player that will be available.
Wayne, Corey's 29. He's in the peak of his career, in terms of he's an important player for you, in terms of he's been in your leadership group. How big a blow is that he feels that he's going to leave now?
Well, it's a blow to lose any player. I mean, we're not the biggest rugby population in the world. So, when you've got a guy on 30-odd tests, he's done the groundwork. He's at that age, as you say, where for a second row, he's maturing really, really well. So we know he's an excellent line-out caller. So he'll be missed. But, it's life in rugby. And, these players sometimes get opportunities which come along once in a lifetime. And that's certainly how it was explained to me. So, here I am working on the other side of the world, so I totally get it.
And the 60 cap rule, do you think that's working? Because obviously if he was over 60 caps, it might be slightly different, albeit in Japan. Is that a rule that you still sort of adhere to and agree with?
Well, it's a rule that's in place and we work toward it. We work with it, sorry. It is working because you've seen the number of players that are coming back and are playing in Wales. And we see it at the coalface. When you're losing half a dozen players, say, for an All Black test, or, fellow weeks and Six Nations, and this week's preparation, we don't have the boys from the English clubs, even though they've finished their competitions, So it makes it tough on the players. So from our point of view, it works having them in Wales.
With regards to Japan, we know the money over there. Are you fearful that a few might follow 2 years out of a World Cup?
No, look, I think, we've got an understanding of where the boys are contractually, and we're in a pretty good position now where I think we've got everybody signed up that we're looking at for the World Cup, and we're pretty pleased to be in that position.
In terms of, we know that the issues with the regions in terms of the money and the finances, is that a concern for you to be able to try and, as well as the Welsh jersey, to be able to persuade these guys to stay in Wales when there are big offers on the table from places like Japan?
Yeah, well, it's not just Wales. It's everyone in the world is affected by it from time to time, and I know only too well, coming from New Zealand, the amount of New Zealand players that have left, the New Zealand environment to set themselves up, and it's just part and parcel of the business. We just got to make sure that we're on top of where the players are at contractually, and make sure that there's not too many that we lose this way.
And just with regards to the matches, Wayne, Canada and Argentina, will we see difference, do you think, in the teams that you select? Are you going to try and give everyone a go like you did in the autumn internationals, given the sort of maybe not the opposition that you're going to be facing in those three matches?
Yeah, we've spoken to the team around the opportunities for them to impress in training, as well as the opportunities that will come for most of the guys. We haven't promised everybody a game. I don't think that's realistic. So there are some guys that have come in and we want to have a closer look at them. And, we're learning a lot, as I say, just in this first week without any games attached. So for some of them, it's with an eye on the future, but the majority of them will get game time.
And Canada, Kingsley Jones and Rob Howley, two passionate Welshmen. What are you expecting from their side when they arrive a week Saturday?
Oh, look, I think it's fantastic that we've got Welsh coaches coaching internationally, and for Rob to get back into the game because he's so experienced, obviously. And so it's good for Canadian rugby, which is good for world rugby, I think. So, we look forward to meeting up with those guys and having a quiet chat before the game, hopefully, and maybe after the game.
Thank you, Wayne. I'll leave Simon go now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Wayne. Simon, yeah.
Hi, Simon.
Hi, mate. You mentioned there that you haven't got the English-based players this week, and yet, as I understand it, those who finished their league seasons in England are with the Lions. So why is it one rule for one and one for another?
Well, I'm probably not the right person to answer that, but I know where you're coming from with it. Look, we think the same thing. I think there's been Scottish players released to play for Scotland A against England A on the weekend. So, yeah, it would have been nice to have those players. Especially the guys, their seasons are over now, like the Bristol boys. But look, we don't. We just go along with that ruling, and the players know when they sign contracts to play in England that this is going to happen. So for some of them, they'll miss out on an opportunity to play against the All Blacks later in the year as well.
Yes. Now, in terms of the Canada game, you obviously haven't got some people with you, but are you expecting to have a full squad to pick from? Have you got any injury issues with your squad at the moment?
No, the boys that are in are working really, really hard. If anything, it's fatigue at the moment because we've probably overloaded them intentionally, and we'll drop back to a normal test week next week. But no, everybody is training, and you get the odd bump in training, but there's nothing significant at this stage. Sorry, probably the only one for us at the moment, which is a concern, and we'll know more probably by the end of the week, is Thomas Francis, who hasn't been able to play the last couple of matches, I think, for Exeter.
What's Frando's problem?
He's just an issue with a back, I think, at the moment. So we're not quite sure. We're just waiting for the latest update, but he's not due until next week.
Just lastly from me, in terms of the new boys you're working with for the first time, anybody in particularly impressed you and putting their hands up for the Canada game?
Well, they all have impressed. They certainly haven't shirked from the work. I think they've all learned a lot in terms of where they're at physically, in terms of their fitness levels. I think, it's been a big wake-up call that it is a big step up, and we have to be able to play at test match level, which means for some of them it's a new level that they've got to get to. So it's been an eye-opener, but they've really taken the challenge on. Young Ben Carter's been excellent. Hump's given him some responsibility in terms of line-out calling with one of the teams in training, and so he's taken to that like a duck to water. So really pleased he's getting to learn to handle some of the pressures in training. Tommy Rogers done very, very well in training. So, the effort that he's putting in is good to see. All the young guys. Who else have we got there that hasn't played yet? Ben Thomas has been running at 10 and 12. And I think, he's taken to it as well. Who else have we got there? Tane Basham. He's been in the squad before, but hasn't played a test yet. They're all working really, really hard. So it's pleased. Gareth Thomas, another one, who in a scrummaging session the other day scrummed very well. So look, I'm pleased for these guys that they're coming in and putting their best foot forward.
Lovely. Enjoy North Wales, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Hi Wayne, Stefan Thomas here. How are you?
Good, Stefan.
Good. In terms of the second row position, I mean, obviously you've lost Corey and Jake, and as great as Ali Wynn is, he is, getting to the end of his career. Is that an area of concern, the second row position, or are you, happy with what you've sort of got coming through there?
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Will Rowlands, he's had a couple of weeks break now, and he's come to training, is looking a lot more refreshed than he was in the Six Nations. He's played a lot of rugby, so he's looking good. Sorry, did I say Will Rowlands?
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I'm talking about Adam Beard. Sorry, so Adam Beard is coming from the Six Nations and is backing that up, training really, really well. So he's a frontline player for us at the moment. Ellenman's obviously been there with him. Will Rowlands is one that's going to come in. He'll come back to the Dragons, and then we won't have that going off to the Premier clubs in the Six Nations, which was hard on him last time around. So I think we'll see big improvements from Will. And there's 3 senior guys ready to go. So it's really a matter of bringing the next group on. And this is where young Ben Carter will have a good look at Screechy. And not forgetting also, I had a good chat with our good friend from the Blues. Help me out here, boys.
Seb Davis.
Seb Davis, yeah. Sorry. There's been a lot going on. And Seb, I had a good chat to Seb once we named the squad, a bit like Owen Watkin, really. He's doing some good stuff with his club, which we've asked him to do. We've just asked him for more consistency in his rugby and have a big off-season. So we see Seb nowhere near out of the picture. So, if you look at the 3 we had in the Six Nations, and you throw in young Ben, Seb and Screechy, and then we're looking at a couple of the other young fellas too for who could be bolters later on.
And what's Matthew Screech been like? What's impressed you about him for the Dragons?
Well, I want to have a look at him up close and in training. I think he's a guy that could play potentially second row and 6. I think that's something that we want to develop going forward. We've got a lot of guys that play second row in Wales, probably because we don't have a lot of genuine big 2 metre plus guys running around. He's got good skill, good energy on the field. He carries well, does well in the collision. So, can he play 6? Can he play second row? So these are sorts of things we get to talk to the players about, learn a lot about them. But he brings good energy, and he's been a good, solid club player for a number of years now. And
just finally for me, 2 years away from the World Cup, obviously strength and depth is vitally important. Are you happy with the depth in Welsh rugby, and are there any positions where you still feel you need to sort of start building a bit more strength?
Yeah, we're really pleased with what was uncovered in the autumns, and hopefully we're going to uncover another couple of good boys in this series. And when you look at what's coming up, this is the time to do it, clearly, and with force changes with the Lions. So the intention in the first 2 years was to broaden the base, and I think we've done that now. If you look at the centres we have coming through, outside backs, we're starting to introduce the odd Tommy Rogers and Louis Rees-Zammit. So I think we're heading in the right direction with that depth, and time will tell, but certainly pleased to see them up close.
Brilliant. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.